I'm your host, Donna Cates, and each week we'll dive into powerful stories, expert strategies, and practical tools to help you take charge of your financial future. Whether you're planning for retirement, navigating a divorce, or simply looking to build your wealth with confidence, this is your space to grow, learn, and thrive. Let's get started with today's podcast. Hi, everyone, and I'm excited today to introduce you to Tricia Parido, who owns Turning Leaves Recovery. Thank you so much for joining us today, Tricia.
Good morning. Good morning. Well, it's morning for me.
And we have transitioned into noon, past noon in Alabama, so it's all
Oh,
good.
there you go. See?
Well, I would love for you to start today by giving us a 90-second overview of the work that you do and why you got into it.
And I can probably do this in less than 90 seconds, but although I am known to be wordy, I help highly motivated / high achievers, right, break free from destructive coping, emotional overwhelm, self-doubt. My work is really about teaching true emotional agility, right? So people can stop being derailed by things outside of them and stress and fear and all of these outside expectations. And my connection to that, is really deep and it's really personal. And if I'm being, truly transparent, I was client zero. 30 years of, destructive coping. And it wasn't until I decided, I went to school, right? Like I went to school so that I could learn. So I turned that mastery that I created for my own internal being and the way that I experienced the world around me, I turned that into a framework. And it's been transforming people's lives since 2015. And, I'm super excited to be launching the next level of what's to come.
And we're going to be talking a little bit about that in a moment too. So let me ask you this question. So you have 30 years of life experience that created a desire for you to pivot and turn your life experiences into a business. So can you share a little bit more with the listeners about what happened at that point and how you came to the decision to start the practice?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And hopefully nobody's squeamish. And I'm just going to run through it. Right. So, like my story started, at the age of 4. And so there's two sides to me, right? Like I was reading, writing, doing arithmetic, playing chess by the age of 4. And by the time I was in 6th grade, I was done with 10th grade work. Junior Olympic swimmer, all the great things. But inside that, there was also, numerous sexual assaults, domestic violence, and emotional neglect. And so you go, ooh, and then, based on when I was, raised and how I was raised, alcohol was normal, and use of alcohol daily was normal. And it was, it was just there, right? So it was a coping, and it wasn't looked at, necessarily as a problem. But yet I also knew that it was a problem because inside my family, I witnessed people have to stop. Anyway, so, there's just this space, and then there's, that external coping, the comparison. And so, I also developed, an attachment to, my relationship with food has been my longest journey. And so anorexia, body dysmorphia, I had to learn how to live with, and just, feeling unheard, unseen, unvalued, unworthy in my life because of how I translated messages from my loved ones. And so, there was just a lot of different complexities in that. Did I
Got it.
answer your question?
Well, no, it does answer the question. And thank you for sharing that and being vulnerable with it, because I think, life, we have to experience life a lot of times in order to learn the lessons that we really need. And sometimes it's not an easy path.
No.
But I certainly appreciate the fact that you turned that into something so positive. So let me ask you another question just for clarification. I know the name of your business, but what do you call yourself? Are you a coach, or how do you frame that?
Ha. I consider myself, an emotional agility whisperer, but technically to condense what I am as a professional. I'm an international mental health practitioner, a master addictions specialist, and that's process, behavioral, and chemical, a psychonutrition consultant.
Uh,
I am also a credentialing instructor and a speaker.
okay, wow. So you've got the expertise behind you, all of the training and the acronyms and stuff. So that's fabulous.
All
I
right.
was just curious because I was wanting to say coach, and I thought I believe it's a little bit
Well,
beyond that.
okay, but yes, right? Like coaches in my life were just they were imperative. And so I prefer the coaching modality. And so a lot of my credentials are in coaching. Um, but I prefer it over, say, leaning into the psych degree as a therapist or a counselor, which I'm credentialed as, um, because they're too slow for me. Right? I'm like right here, right now in this moment, going forward. What do we want to do? And let's figure out. Let's start creating that journey,
Well,
and living today, going forward.
and I appreciated something that I read from you about being no fluff and making things happen. Those are my words. I think you said no fluff, but hey, we're not beating around the bush here. We're gonna make transformational change happen, and that is so. And I believe that too is probably why you're calling in people who are professionals and who are highly motivated, because
Mhm.
just not anybody can step into doing that work. Am I right?
Right. I work with a lot of, what I call, because this was me for a large season of life. We have 5 children. They're all grown. We have 5, almost 6 grandchildren. And those home front CEOs is what I call it, right? The moms or the dads. I've worked with lots of stay-at-home dads that, that's a business. Any way you look at it, right? You have to be highly motivated. You have to be organized. You have to be on top of your emotional game. You are leading and forming young people.
And I will tell you, in my work as a financial advisor, and specifically working with women who are divorcing, they shortchange themselves so much by saying, I'm just a stay at home mom.
Step one, remove the word just.
Love it. Love it. Good advice. Good advice. And I'm curious to know where you see your industry going in the future. And I'm going to caveat that with this observation. There are a lot of different types of coaches out there with different, varying degrees of training and expertise, but it seems like it's somewhat easy to hang that shingle, and not everybody in the industry has your credentials. So I'm curious, just what are your thoughts on that, and what do you see as the biggest problem in the industry and helping people get where they need to be?
Oh, this is a big one. I hope you got a minute, right? Like this is a big one because on the professional side, one of the issues I see, and I've run into this many times, right? Because I do collaborate with professionals. I know that I am not necessarily always 100% what somebody needs. So a lot of times I'm building a collaborative team for a client. Anyway, so what I've run into a lot of lately are people who, well-meaning, probably have a ton of life experience, touting themselves as the expert. They've got the funds to create this like amazing looking, right? Like the image. They got the marketing person out there doing all the things. But when you get into it, they have no formal training. And I'll just use this as an example. I came across somebody that was touting themselves as the autistic adult master, right? The master of working with adults with autism, with no formal training or education to back that up. And literally said those words to me. And I was just like, oh, this is a problem. And so, I think people need to understand that anybody can throw the word coach at the end of their name. And so even though I'm a coaching credential instructor, it's a credential, it's an accredited class. And so I'm passionate about that. When I'm sitting on the board for the California Association of Alcohol and Drug Educators, right? Our passion is the education and the level of the education and how it is put out and what goes into it and things like that. So, just be mindful because it's out there, right? Everybody in the world can be like, oh, check me out, right? Like I've created a really great life for myself. Let me show you how I did it for me. And it doesn't mean that they actually know how to serve you. So there's that issue. I also see, people still gravitating, and this is something that, is very passionate and near to my heart, right? Looking for those quick fixes. What is the quickest, fastest crash diet? Totally unhealthy, and not sustainable, and it's not lifelong manageable and maintainable. Same with anything else, right? Like those quick fix, right? Like I'm going to go to this workshop and I'm going to learn everything and it's going to be all better. It's just that it's that instant gratification need. And we've been conditioned as beings to rely on things outside of us to bring us peace, joy, comfort, relief, value, validity, worthiness. And I mean that with every ounce of my being. And it starts in childhood. We fall down, scrape our knee. What do we get? We get a popsicle while mom's cleaning our knee, right? We go to the doctors. We're getting a shot. They give us the shot. They give us a lollipop. It's your birthday. You get cake. You actually do your homework and get a good grade. You get a star. Just all of the external reward, and we come to need it. If I don't get enough thumbs up on my post, if I don't, why do we all need to be viral? Right? It's because we have this need for external validation. And so that's a big problem. So, what I see is people waking up to the limitations of, and hopefully I'm a part of this movement and I'm, again, working on that. But, I think people are going to wake up to the limitations of the one size fits all coaching and therapy and, the industry at all, right? Like, come to me, I'll fix your entire world. You'll never need another thing ever again. Right? So the future is customized. And I know this because I've been doing it that way for 12 years, right? Like customized, integrative approaches that actually adapt to the individual. So the way I stay ahead is I'm continuously evolving. I'm always incorporating new things, psychonutrition, different high performance strategies. Currently, I'm developing an app, right? That's going to be next level commitment on my part because my clients are going to be able to customize their own experience, their own journey, their own navigation towards the emotional agility they need, picking and choosing their tools, but which also means I got to show up. Right, a little bit differently. Luckily, I have tons of energy and love the hands-on time, right? And they're going to be able to just have it, and so but that's where it's going, right? Like that's where it's at. People don't want to drive 45 minutes to sit for a 60-minute session to have to drive back. Like it's just not the deal. And I've been an online coach, or a practitioner since before the pandemic, right? I'm going to say I've been online for 10 years, and you know, you have to listen and hear, not what your clients tell you they need. What's the temperature, right? Like, what's the temperature? And when I hear somebody say, I get my mental health from watching 15-second TikTok videos, I cringe.
I can relate to that. So, a couple of things I wanted to share with you. Number one, the quick fix mentality. I can't tell you how many self help books, self improvement, whatever you want to call them, and even masterminds that I've taken, literally coming out of them going, okay, well, now what? It's kind of like without doing the work, I'm expecting, because that's what I've been trained to do, is to expect that quick fix. So I just wanted to acknowledge
I
that.
love that you said, now what, right? Like, that part of what instigated me launching my practice altogether, right? Now what's next? Great, I have these tools, but I don't know how to use them in my real life, and so there has to be, you can go to all the Tony Robbins or read all of the, Gabrielle Bernstein, Brene Brown, but if you're trying to fit your life into their method, their modality, right? It's going to be like trying to put a square peg into a round hole, versus taking that method, that modality, that theory, that practice, and incorporating it into your life. Add, edit, delete, change, shift, morph, make it your own, and learn how to apply it practically in what your life looks like. This is what I teach.
And I think that's what makes you unique from a traditional coach. It's not cookie cutter, and you're teaching people how to take the information and do something with it. So yay, you. That's awesome.
We're all unique beings, right? Like, even when I'm doing psychonutrition, right? And I can't say, here, do what I did, right? Because I've removed 4 autoimmune diseases from my body. Like, literally removed them. They're gone after 8 years of battling them medically. Like, I removed them through this. Anyway, there's no diet that works for everybody. And the problem is, we don't know how to hear what our body is telling us when we ingest whatever it is we ingest. So, you have to learn how to hear that. But each person's different. And so I teach them how to hear it, not what to put in it.
We're doing, so if I were working with you, and I'm saying this specifically because I do have autoimmune diseases, and once you have one, it's likely that you're going to have 2, 3, 4, whatever, right?
Yep.
So I've got 4, but I'm curious. So you're teaching me not how to eat. You're not saying, here's your prescription, don't eat this, don't eat that. You're teaching me more how to pay attention to what's going on in my body when I have certain things, and to recognize that, and then what to do with that knowledge. Is that
100%. Sure, I make recommendations, and I will say, like, perhaps it's this. Let's try it out. It could be this and it could be that, but let's try it out. And it's because if you remove all of it, then you don't know which one it was. And so if you remove this, the one that has the highest probability, and it's not that, then you could go to the next one, right? And then you can have that back, because nobody wants to be restricted or punished either.
Right.
I know exactly how much refined sugars I can allow myself to have, because let me tell you, I love my sweets, right? But I know exactly how much of it I can have to keep the inflammation out. I know exactly how often I can allow myself to eat nightshades, right? And different ones specifically, because they all act a little bit different in my body. I know exactly how much and how often I can, because I took the time to understand what my physical body can process, how it processes, and what happens when I don't do it the right way. And so I know if I go on vacation, I might say I'm signing up to do whatever I want. I'm going to deal with the repercussions when I get home. But I've done it cognitively. I'm signing up for it. So I can't complain. I can't piss, bitch, moan, nothing. Right? Like I'm signing up for it.
Well, and I appreciate that. And I have to tell you, this is the first time I've ever heard that term, psychonutrition. So I'm very intrigued by that whole concept. So we'll have to talk more about that. But tell me, I would love to kind of shift this to a more personal level. Not that you've not already shared personally, but if you could have lunch with one person, living or deceased, who would that be and why?
You know, I have to, and normally this isn't my answer, but I have to go with Mel Robbins because she's real, she's no BS, right? And she's fiercely honest about taking ownership of your life. And our work truly aligns in a way that we don't have time for me to explain today, right? Like this isn't that episode, but our work aligns in that we both challenge, right, people to take radical responsibility, right, break free from these destructive habits and build an emotionally unshakable life. And let's, honestly, she's got momentum right now. So anybody listening knows who I'm talking about, and now they can say, oh, okay, this is what Tricia's about. There's a way for them to psychologically connect me to like, well, what is she all about? Who, right? So, Mel's got tons of momentum right now, but I also just love her direct take action approach, right? Like I'm all about that. Oh, don't want to sit and ruminate and wallow and languish in something that has already come and gone. There's no do-overs. All we have is this moment. We have to live it, not the one that's coming in 10 seconds either, because it's not here yet either. We've got to live in the now.
Right now.
Not now, right here, right now.
I literally just finished reading Let Them. So that's fresh on my mind, right? You got it right there, I'm sure. Awesome. Okay, so I hope that you have the opportunity to sit down and have lunch with her, or at least good conversation, because I would love to be a fly on the wall for that one.
Oh God, that would be, I think it would just be, awesome.
I agree with you. So if
people of the mind.
Yeah, right, absolutely. So if folks want to contact you, learn how to work with you, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
I'm gonna be a little unorthodox. Send me a text message. The number you see on my website is the only number that I have. Sure, you can fill out the contact me form if that's more comfortable. Cool beans, right? It's there. Or you can just grab a consultation. I'm not a salesperson, right? If there's a journey for us to have and you want to have it, cool. Right? If I'm not a good fit for you or you're not a fit for me, I am a trained professional case manager, right? Like it's inside of me to connect you with what will serve you. So that's just the way I roll. I'm not going to talk to you about, the 7 different programs I've created and why they're all so wonderful and blah, blah, blah. There's either a journey for us to have together or there's not. And either way, it's fine. If you just want to pick my brain for a minute, that's the best way to do it, right? Send me a text, fill out a contact me form, or book a consultation.
That is so fabulous and so easy and so spot on for the way that I like to work too. So
don't leave a voicemail.
Yeah. Okay. No voicemail.
Sometimes takes days to get them to me.
Oh, I got it. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on today's show. I know our audience is going to really enjoy, and I encourage everybody to reach out, check out our website so you can learn more. And I'm going to be contacting you to just learn more about this.
Thank you so much. And I want everybody to know, right? Like, I don't know when this is airing. So I am doing, there's some things that are changing. So Hopefully they'll be obvious, but if you want to know what's coming, this is February. If you want to know what's coming for the spring, send me a message.
All right, that's awesome. Thanks for letting us know that. Okay, thank you. I hope today's conversation left you feeling inspired, informed, and ready to take the next step in your financial journey. Remember, building wealth isn't just about money, it's also about creating a life that aligns with your goals and values. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with the women in your life who deserve financial empowerment too. Until next time, stay confident, stay empowered, and keep building the life you desire.